Nálunk sohasem forog kétszer ugyanaz a lemez. Bakelit Rádió. Online mindig az első.
Hello everyone, you're listening to Bakelit Art and Roll on Bakelit Radio, and today's our guest is Don Johnson from Bowies Keep Swinging Band. Hello.
Hello there, how you doing?
Thanks, fine. So, my first question would be, where are you from?
I'm from Vancouver, Canada.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we discussed it earlier that you have a nice accent. Yeah,
yeah, I've had a strange accent that came from living in the UK and then Australia, and then when I was living in Korea, they wanted me to have an American accent. So I don't know where I'm from linguistically anymore.
Do you remember how old you were when you first listened to David Bowie?
Oh, yeah, I do. I was probably 12 years old, and it would have been the Diamond Dogs album, the first one I heard.
Was it the very first moment you started to like him, or it was a process?
I was fascinated, truly fascinated. Right
at the age of 10?
Yeah, at 10 or 12 thereabouts. Yeah, it was a truly fascinating character, so different from anything else that was happening at the time. So, and for a 12-year-old, he was a little bit creepy too, but mesmerizing and fascinating for sure.
Have you ever been to Bowie concerts?
Oh, you know, I hate this question because I've been so close so many times. I technically was at a Bowie concert, but I was working in the venue and I didn't actually get to see the performance.
Where was this?
That was in Vancouver.
Vancouver.
Yeah, that would have been the Serious Moonlight tour. Yeah, and so we were in the same building. I like to think we had the same gig the same night.
But you didn't hear anything?
Very echoey. One of these enormous stadiums that he was playing at the time, and so I didn't really get to hear the performance clearly.
I've only been once at Siget Festival, but I was kind of quite wasted, and I don't remember too much. But yeah, it must have been good.
That was online, isn't it? And you can rewatch it when you're sober.
Yeah, 97.
Yeah.
All right. When did you start singing, or when did you start to deal with music? Do you play any instruments?
Oh, yeah. I was a drummer from a very early age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I started playing drums at the age of 8. We had a piano at home, and so I was always listening to music and experimenting. But I didn't start singing until 7 years ago, and all I've ever sung was Bowie.
Really?
Yeah. So Bowie taught me to sing.
So did you have an own band or garage band?
Oh yeah, everything. I played jazz. I played in orchestras. I had my own bands. I played covers and dance music and that sort of thing. All kinds of stuff. When you're a drummer, you get called upon to do musical theater, everything. So I played a lot of different genres. But my favorite when I was a kid was art rock and a Queen, Led Zeppelin, British rock of that era.
Okay, when did the idea come to create a tribute band? Which was the first band you played?
My first Bowie tribute band. Well, I was living in Korea, and Korea is a wonderful country to perform in because the standard of musicianship is very high, and the clubs all have backline. They all have their own equipment. So, as you know, it's great for a musician if you don't have to have the van. You just walk in with your guitar and drumsticks, and you can perform.
Dream.
Yeah, it is a dream, and there's so few places where you can do that. And so it was easy to put a band together, and I played in a party band there called the Total Assholes, and so
but it wasn't a Bowie tribute.
No, it wasn't a Bowie tribute, but that allowed me access to a lot of musicians, and so we pulled together a Bowie tribute to do one show.
With Korean musicians, you mean?
With some were expats from other parts of the world, Americans, British, Canadian.
Hungarian? No.
I wish, but there were no Hungarians there at the time. Had there been, though. And that was a very successful show. And so we would do another show every few months, and then it became a habit, and I haven't stopped.
What was the name of it?
That was the Reality Tourists.
Oh, yeah.
The Reality Tourists. And that was a big band. That got to be a 10-member band. And we had a split-off band called the Diamond Dogs that would do more of the glammy stuff. That was a smaller, dirtier, sexier band.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, I told you to pick 5 songs from Bowie.
Oh, that was hard.
Yes, it was hard, I can imagine. So let's start with the first one, this Andy Warhol. So, could you tell us a few words about this song and your opinion or thoughts about this?
Oh yeah,
song?
this is very much the singer-songwriter Bowie. This is from 1971 album Hunky Dory, which was a real breakthrough album for him, the one that really put him on the map. And to this day, it's a very solid album full of great songs. And Bowie hadn't met Andy Warhol yet when he wrote this song, but he played it for Warhol a few months later, who apparently ran out of the room because he was so upset with the song. But it's a wonderful song. It's just Bowie and Mick Ronson playing acoustic guitars, and it really evokes the quirkiness of Andy Warhol and reveals a lot about Bowie's own fascination with the art scene, the underground art scene in New York at that time.
All right, let's listen to Andy Warhol.
Fill your heart with love today. Don't play the game of time. Things that happened in the past only happened in your mind, only in your mind. Oh, forget your mind and you'll be free, yeah. The writing's on the wall, free, yeah. And you can know it all if you choose. Just remember, lovers never lose, 'cause they are free of thoughts unpure and of thoughts unkind. Gentleness clears the soul, love cleans the mind and makes it free. Happiness is happening. Dragons have been bled. Gentleness is everywhere. Fear is just in your head, only in your head. Fear is in your head, only in your head. So forget your head and you'll be free. The writing was on the wall. Free, yeah, and you can know it all if you choose. Just remember, lovers never lose, 'cause they are free of thoughts unpure and of thoughts unkind. Gentleness clears the soul, love will clean your mind and make you free.
It's Warhol, actually.
What did I say?
Hole. It's Hole. As in holes. What? Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol. Like hole.
Andy Warhol, take one.
Ah. Are you ready?
Yeah.
cement fix, be a standing cinema. Dress my friends up just for show, see them as they really are. But the people in my brain, 2 new pence to have a go. I'd like to be a gallery, put you all inside my show. Andy Warhol looks a scream, hang him on my wall. Andy Warhol, silver screen, can't tell them apart at all. Andy walking, Andy tired, Andy take a little snooze. Tie him up when he fast asleep, send him on a pleasant cruise. When you wake up on the sea, be sure to think of me and you. To think about paint and to think about glue, what a jolly boring thing to do. Andy Warhol looks a scream, hang him on my wall. Andy Warhol, silver screen, can't tell them apart at all. Andy Warhol looks a scream, hang him on my wall. Andy Warhol, silver screen, can't tell them apart at all. That was Andy Warhol from Hunky Dory, and we are still talking with Don Johnson. So you mentioned that this Korean band was the first tribute band ever. You played like drums, yeah? You played drums there?
No, I was just singing. That was my first singing gig.
Okay. So no drums.
No, not for them. I left the drums aside and just made it even easier for myself. Rather than carrying cymbals, I just had to carry a microphone.
Okay, so how did you get to Hungary? So I think it was a longer period after this?
I took a plane.
Really?
Yeah.
So how did you come to get to Hungary?
My wife has Hungarian ancestry, and we really wanted to move to Europe. And we discovered that she could get her Hungarian citizenship. All she had to do was learn to speak the Hungarian language, which of course is extremely easy to learn. And, and she did that to her credit. She learned the language, took her exam, and is now a Hungarian citizen. And so we're able to stay here. And we had visited here with her parents years before and just loved Budapest. Absolutely loved it. And we knew we wanted to move here. And so we did.
Okay, so how did you create the first tribute band? Or you created, or you were asked to sing there?
Well, I joined one. I was really irritating. There was the Starmans here, a collective of Bowie enthusiasts who performed a few times a year, and I kept irritating them until they let me do a couple of songs with them. And they turned out to be great friends and great chums and everything. So I stayed with them. And they performed on and off for, I guess, 2 or 3 years after I arrived, and then they disbanded just maybe a year and a half ago, something like that.
For good?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. They had been going for 10 years, and then they just decided to call it quits. And I got frustrated not not being able to perform, and so I decided to put my own tribute together here.
The Bowies Keep Swinging.
Bowies Keep Swinging, yeah.
Okay, so how many gigs do you give a year, or
It's
how often do you tour?
accelerating. It's accelerating insanely at the moment. We were going. We've only been together a year and a half, I would say, and we were doing a gig every few months. But now we're at the rate of about one a month, and we've got a tour of Spain coming up this
Really?
year. Yeah, and a possible tour of South America.
Oh my!
And some festival things this summer, and we're with an agency now who want to get us into Germany and Holland. So things are really picking up this year. Yeah,
So you're
getting
slowly
crazy.
becoming internationally famous, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. I can't walk down the street anywhere.
Okay, so what is it like to be David Bowie? How hard or how difficult it is to transform?
Well, he made it challenging. I mean, there's so many different Bowies, not just in costuming but in vocal style. He's a superb vocalist with an enormous range, not just in terms of notes, but his expressiveness and vocal character. Sometimes he sounds like Jim Morrison or Scott Walker, or he can sound like so many different people. So that I picked the wrong person to impersonate. Really, had this been a Bon Jovi tribute, it'd just be fairly straightforward. No, I've forgotten the question.
Me too. No. Yeah. So how
I'm
difficult
babbling a
it
bit.
is to transform? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's very challenging.
Very challenging,
It's
huh?
very challenging in a sense, but the songs do open the door for you. Each song is its own little nugget, and so his entire output is like an enormous box of chocolates. With everyone is different, so the song can bring you into the character, and it is a challenge musically and expressively to make each song come to life. But it's an exciting challenge, and it's very satisfying when it works.
Okay. I imagine you play to quite a lot of audiences during your career or life. Is there a difference between the audiences? So let's say audience in Hungary or in Korea or in Europe or anywhere else?
Well, the great thing about performing Bowie in Hungary as opposed to Korea is that people actually know who he is. So that's a great advantage right there. And the people in Spain are big Bowie fans too. No, it's really nice that there's a solid fan base here. So you get people coming to shows and they know all the words to all the songs, and that's very satisfying as a performer, because if I forget them, I can read people's lips. No, I'm kidding, but it's really nice to have people singing along, and it creates a great vibe during the shows.
All right. Do you and the band have any rituals before a show?
Oh yeah, we do the typical sports team circle huddle, and we yell very loudly in each other's ears, and that's very motivating. This is a very tight band. Bowies Keep Swinging is not like any tribute band I've been in before, where you just sort of gather together musicians and they know their role, and that is to perform the songs. This band is 5 distinct personalities that really gel well together. So we don't look to recreate the songs as close as possible to the record. We have our own style. We do our own interpretations, and there's a really great chemistry that I've never experienced with a band before. They're all superb musicians, but we've got this wonderful chemistry. I really love playing with this band. It's just 5 people, and you would think that would be limiting, but our guitarist is extremely versatile. We've got a fabulous drummer.
Could you introduce the band just briefly? Yeah.
Yeah, Bren Brennan on guitars from the UK, superb player. When we formed, I said, well, we'll need a second guitarist. He just grinned at me and said, no, you won't. And he was right. He was right. He does it all. And Bato Bansé on drums, who is also with Amber Smith, superb drummer, best I've ever played with. He reminds me of Sterling Campbell, who was Bowie's drummer during the reality tour. Fantastic power and meter, and a great guy. On keyboards, we have a very young music student, Pete Lugerga, who's fantastic hands. He's my Mike Garson. He's beautiful, beautiful hands. And on bass we have Tol Theron, I'm probably making mincemeat out of these names, and I apologize to their mothers. But Aaron is a wonderful bass player and has got fantastic stage presence, and he really holds down the bottom. He locks in great with Bense, the drummer. It's a fantastic group. Sometimes I'm called upon to play a bit of guitar, but it's thoroughly unnecessary. These four guys can do everything themselves.
All right, let's check a second song, "Sweet Thing," from Diamond Dogs. Can you give us some thoughts about this song?
Sure. This Diamond Dogs from 1974 was sort of made from a scuttled rock opera project that Bowie. He was fascinated with rock opera, but he claimed that he never had the resources to do a full rock opera. I think he just had a short attention span, and he was most comfortable with the genre of the song. So Diamond Dogs is sort of a concept album. This song is probably the artsiest of the album. It's part of a medley, very expressive. As a singer, Bowie does something amazing. Within the first verse, he's singing low in his range. He's almost speaking the first words. By the end of the verse, he is doing long-held notes that are 2 octaves higher. You hear him progress through 2 octaves as he's singing this verse. It doesn't sound like one person, but it is. He's a remarkable vocalist, and this song really shows that off.
Do you also sing this?
On my own. The band hasn't tackled it yet. But
Under the shower, yeah.
We're going to, yeah. No, I've been working on the song. It's a real technical challenge, but it's one I would like to perform.
All right, let's check "Sweet Thing" out from Diamond Dogs.
It's safe in a city to love in a dull way, to wrangle some screams from the door. And isn't it neat, putting pain in a stranger, like a portrait in flash, trails on a leash? Will you see? Sweet thing, sweet thing. If you want it, boys, get it here, thing. 'Cause hope, boys, is a cheap thing, cheap thing. I'm glad that you're older than me. Makes me feel important and free. Does that make you smile? Isn't that me? I'm in your way, and I'll steal every moment. If this trade is a curse, then I'll bless you and turn to the crossroads of hamburgers. It's a sweet thing. Sweet thing, sweet thing. If you want it, boys, get it here, thing. Oh, boys, it's a cheap thing, cheap thing.
You're still listening to Bucket Art and Roll on Bucket Radio, and I'm speaking with Don Johnson from Bowies Keep Swinging Tribute Band. Alright, if you look back your career, your music career, what was the best gig ever?
The best gig ever? That's a difficult question. We've played at Musicum 3 times so far with Bowies Keep Swinging, and it seems that each time we perform there, we have a better and better night. Each audience is a little bit different. We have great shows there. It's a lovely venue. It's a nice size. It feels intimate, but there are enough people that it really feels like a party too. And we get good sound in there. The stage is nice. It feels like every gig we've had there has been a high water mark. But we've got these bigger and bigger gigs coming. So it remains to be seen. I think that each one is the best one. You know, we've never had a bad show. We always have a good time, and we always try to do new songs each show. So we're always freshening up the set list. So we're often playing things for the very first time at every show. So that's exciting. It keeps it exciting for us.
Right. What does your summer look like? Are you full? Or are you going to festivals or?
Yeah, we've got a festival show in Vienna lined up in July. No, June. I don't know. I don't keep track of these things. I'm not very good. Other people do that sort of thing, and I'm terrible at keeping track of these things.
You have a manager?
Yeah, we do have a manager. We're with Gold Record, and they're doing a wonderful job with them. We've just signed with them, and they're doing a wonderful job for us. So we're looking forward to doing more and more shows. We've also got something coming up at Balaton in August. I'm afraid I don't know the details, but
but I think you have a nice Facebook page and everything is updated there.
Yeah, Instagram is well taken care of. Again, I have nothing to do with any of that, but someone is looking after it and doing a fine job.
All right. Okay, another difficult question.
Oh dear.
If you had to pick one favorite album, which one would it be?
It changes. It changes every day, and I will get stuck on one album and think this is my favorite. This is
right now.
Right now, I'm actually listening to The Next Day a lot.
Next Day,
I know. It's a fantastic album, 2013.
Yeah.
And I remember when it came out. And I was already singing Bowie at that time, and I got to perform a lot of songs from that album. And I was thinking, I'm getting to perform them before David is. And then of course he passed away, which made the claim really difficult and bittersweet. But I'm really listening to that album a lot these days. It's such a fine.
It's a big
album.
Returning, and it was a big comeback. No.
Yeah. After 10 years.
Wow.
And it's such a great album.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, another difficult question. Which is your favorite Bowie era?
The favorite Bowie era.
Good old Ziggy.
That is difficult. As a performer, the Reality era, his tour 2003-2004, as a performer, he was on top of his game. He was relaxed. He had an excellent band, and he seemed to be having a really good time on and off stage. So, in terms of his life and his character, and a merging of David Jones and David Bowie, where they were no longer really separate entities, that era is a very satisfying one to explore him as a person and as a performer. In terms of musical output, the early 70s, the Ziggy, Diamond Dogs, Aladdin Sane in there, just so fascinating, and there's something so exciting and sexual and exotic about performing the music of that era. It just draws something very naughty out.
All right. Okay. Let's check another song. Can You Hear Me from Young Americans?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that? Why did you pick this?
Well, this takes us... Now he's in America, of course. And there's so much blue-eyed soul going on at the time. This is 1975 from Young Americans, and you had so many white groups doing R&B. But Bowie takes it a step further here. He's in Sigma Sound Studios in Philadelphia. He's surrounded himself with top R&B studio musicians. He's got Carlos Alomar on guitar. He's got Luther Vandross doing all the backing vocals and arranging those. And he has just mastered all these soul subgenres. It's like Young Americans is a sampler of all these soul subgenres. He's singing beautifully, and he's got David Sanborn on alto saxophone playing fantastically on this album and on this track in particular. Again, his vocal range and expressiveness are magnificent on this song. And there's nothing plastic. He called it plastic soul, but I in my opinion, there's nothing plastic about his mastery of the American soul genre in this song.
Do you play anything from Young Americans?
I have performed the title track. I have performed this song in an acoustic setting.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to be doing more from Young Americans.
Mm-hmm.
It's an album we haven't really tackled yet with Bowies Keep Swinging, but it's only a matter of time.
All right. Amen. Okay, so can you hear me from Young Americans? Let's listen to it.
Once we were lovers, can they understand? Roads to the others, I was young, I was your man. Don't talk of heartaches. I remember them all, but I'm checking out one day to see if I'm thinking it all. Can you hear me? Can you feel me inside? Show your love. Can you feel me inside? I do. Show me your love. Show me sweet, sweet love. Show me your love. Take it right. Take it right. Take it take it in a right to your love line. Take it in a right. Take it in a right down. Why don't you take it? Why don't you take it? Can you hear me? Why don't you take it? Can you feel me? Why don't you take it? Can you take it in a right? Why don't you take it? Right down, right to your heart. Can you take it? Why don't you take it? Why don't you take it? Take it in a right to your heart.
You're still listening to Bucketed Art and Roll on Bucketed Radio, and I'm speaking with Don Johnson.
Hello.
Hello. Alright, so, can you share some weird or interesting fact about Bowie that an average listener may not know? Like he did not like tea.
Yeah, you know
because
that.
he
You
had
stole
some.
my-
Sorry.
That was my
Fuck.
one weird fact.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, I can't even remember his cats' names, but yeah, strange facts about Bowie. Oh, there's new the team.
So, or we can record it.
No, that's fine. It should something should bubble up if I think about it long. Well, that he was left-handed. Not a lot of people know that because when you see him playing guitar, he played right-handed.
Right-handed, yeah.
But his left-handedness affected his guitar style and it affected his piano playing style too. And of course, he always wrote things out with his left hand. You can see him in the video for Lazarus. He's writing with his left hand. It's one of the few times in his music videos you see him writing, and people wondered whether the film had been reversed or if he was doing that for effect. No, he was genuinely left-handed, and he's very much a left-handed person in his intellect and creativity. So there's one obscure Bowie fact.
All right. Okay. It's a common fact that Bowie experienced quite a lot with drugs. How do you think drugs helped him to become a singer or performer he was, or I don't know. So,
well, that's an excellent question. We're not advocating this,
of
ladies
course
and
not.
gentlemen.
Of course, yeah.
He was a shy person, and it was difficult for him to be on stage in some ways. Hence the Ziggy character.
I can't imagine that he was a shy person.
I know, it seems impossible, and he maintained that. And it might have been tongue-in-cheek, but I think there's a certain element of truth to that. And he was also... he loved the drugs that elevated him. He loved cocaine because it stimulated him, gave him so much energy.
Self-confidence, yeah.
Yeah, he could stay up all night long, get the confidence exactly. And so that fueled an awful lot of his output. He regretted how intensely he got into it at that time because there was so much that he couldn't recall after the fact. But the fact remains that cocaine played a big part in his output, the magnitude of his output and the nature of his output during that time. He didn't like slow drugs. He didn't like marijuana. So it was ironic that he was arrested for marijuana possession at one time. But he loved coffee and cigarettes. So anything stimulating.
Yeah.
He was quite addicted to it. It was hard for him to quit smoking, and coffee. I don't think he ever quit coffee.
Yeah. But he quit smoking, I think.
Yeah, he did quit smoking
in the 90s, or I don't know.
Maybe
or
when
later.
he married Iman. I'm not sure when he quit smoking.
Maybe later.
Yeah, it might have been later.
Okay, if you could ask one thing of Bowie, what would it be concerning his songs or his life or?
I think I would want to ask him how he saw himself, whether he still saw himself as David Robert Jones and the creator of David Bowie, or if the two had become merged as one, as he no longer saw himself as a separate entity. I would want to know how much of him identified with his old self, his childhood self, or whether he had been completely absorbed by the public self, the image, the personal brand he had created. And he really was the godfather of personal branding. He did that before it became a thing. So I would be very curious to know how he saw himself as Bowie, as Jones, as something in between, as both. I think when he met Iman, he as Jones genuinely fell in love, and he became more himself. From that time on in his career, you can see it, you can hear it in his interviews. He became much more authentic. Happy, genuinely happy. He was genuinely in love with her. It was a beautiful thing. So that's something I would want to know about from him, how he saw himself.
Another fantastic question. If you could sing a song with Bowie together, which one would it be?
Well, it would have to be something. It would have to be something that was a duet.
Yeah, duet.
Just so, and it wouldn't be Dancing in the Street. I can tell you that it would not be that. But and this is probably a bit of a cliche because anyone who sings Bowie would want this. But I would love to do Space Oddity with him. Because either person could take either part. And the parts cross over. One is higher than the other at one point, and then it's lower. So you really do feel like you're doing a duet with someone. It feels very interactive, and the harmonies are very close. I would love to sing Space Oddity with him above anything else.
So as you already mentioned, you're on Facebook and Instagram. So anyone wants to follow you can do it there.
Absolutely love that. Yeah,
all your gigs and concerts are.
And we're on as Bowies Keep Swinging on both Instagram and Facebook, and there's also a Foey Bowie Facebook page, but it is not maintained. That's my fault. But other people look after the other ones, and they do a wonderful job. We've got lots of Instagram followers. We've got, I think we're the Spanish-speaking world's favorite Bowie tribute at the moment. Yeah, we have a lot of Spanish-speaking fans because the fellow who maintains our Instagram page speaks Spanish, and something about this band really seems to appeal to that culture. But following us would be great and much appreciated, and you'll find the information about our shows there.
All right, so people follow Bowies Keep Swinging band. And thank you for coming, and I would like to have your thoughts about Scary Monsters. That's the last song you picked.
Scary Monsters, such a pivotal album, and the song is magnificent. Every guitarist hates it when they have to play it because Robert Fripp was doing some insane guitar playing on this song. He was intentionally soloing over different chords than the rest of the band was playing, and so it sounds like this very neurotic, sped up rockabilly type of guitar soloing, but a fantastic song in which Bowie sings in this Cockney accent. He really takes on this character, and there's so much neurotic edginess to it. There's a cowbell that's been modified through a guitar pedal to sound like an anvil, and the haunting backing vocals that Bowie sang all himself. This really hard-driving, neurotic song in which the main character drives his girlfriend crazy, and they both sound like thoroughly insane people over this exciting, hard-driving beat. The bass drum is playing all eighth notes, so drummers hate it too. My drummer can play this, but he's got legs of steel, but it's a very challenging song to play, and just thrilling, so thrilling.
And I think that was So I think after this period, the 80s, I think those albums weren't so great for me, and I think this was the last one, which like closed an era, or no?
Very much so. Yeah,
Yeah?
I agree absolutely. He started to be more focused on a radio audience
Yeah,
and a bigger
yeah,
audience.
yeah, like-
But up until Scary Monsters, and including Scary Monsters, he was very much in the art rock world.
Yep, art
and
rock.
European influenced, and this song and this album are delicious for that reason.
Don, thank you for having you, and I wish you good luck for all the gigs
Thank
coming
you.
up.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
She had an aura of broom, she was tired, you can't hide me. When I looked in her eyes, they were blue, but nobody home. Perhaps she could have been a killer if she didn't walk the way she do, and she do. She opened strange doors that we'd never close again. She began to wail, jealousy scream, waiting at the lights, know what I mean. Scary monsters, super creeps, keep me running, running scared. Scary monsters, super creeps. Keep me running, running scared. She asked me to stay and I stole a room. She asked for my love and I gave her a dangerous mind. Now she's stupid in the street and she's gone, so shall I.